Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. We're here at Boscombe Down, the Air Force base just outside of the town of Amesbury in England, and we're in the Bell 47 helicopter. Once again, doing a helicopter flight. Today we're going to head down to the coast and then fly eastwards out to Shoreham, and we'll get a look at Portsmouth and Southampton and all those good places out there as we go. Oh, you're going to fly along? Oh, excellent. So we're flying the Bell 47. Now, unfortunately, the weather here is typical British winter weather, so we are on the few clouds preset. If not, we'd be in fog and low cloud and drizzle or something at the moment, I think it was. So the weather will be pretty good. Just a couple knots wind out of the west and a few clouds here, which should allow for some nice visuals down onto the ground as we fly along. So let me just jump inside the helicopter here, and we can just pop out, and multiplayer will turn on the nameplates. So as you can see, we are on multiplayer North Europe server if you ever want to join in. And as I always say, my flights are welcome to everybody when we're on live stream, either multiplayer such as this one or on VATSIM, as we do with some of the airliner flights, but looking pretty good out there. And the time is about 11 o'clock in the morning, so it should give us a little bit of sunlight. Ah, there's Talia over there in the Cabri. Oh, that's one of the new ones that came out with the helicopter edition. Unfortunately, it's showing as a Cherokee, but I'm expecting that a lot with these things. I should actually make sure I've got it installed since it did come with it, but I don't know, for some reason I found that I was testing it with Kevin, and if I loaded in the same helicopter, it worked fine. I could see him in it. If I loaded it in the Bell, you put him in a Cherokee. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it's for your own experience as well. So let's hop on board. We'll start get this thing fired up and warming up. So carb heat's going to stay cold. Mixture is going to go to fully rich. I do have track IR on for looking around, but I've got it shut off right now as we get ourselves started up here. We'll come down to the bottom. We're going to turn on our instrument lights and our beacon lights. Strobes, landing lights can stay off. We're going to go oil temperature for the start. We'll turn on the battery and alternator. A little bit of prime for the fuel. Magnetos can go to both. And transponder can go to standby. And radios will set to standard Unicom frequency. It won't let you change the weather? Really? That's very odd. Anyway, let's hit the starter button. Everything is clear. And we can get this thing fired up. Let's just get a nice view here for the start. Here we go. So this is the Bell 47. It is running a 6-cylinder engine, piston engine. And we've got the 2 fuel tanks on either side here. Okay. So as you can see, this is the helicopter. It's a very simple design, designed in the late 40s. Bubble canopy, 2 passengers. There's the engine with the drive shaft coming up. There's a differential here which splits between the upper rotor and the tail rotor in the back. The tail rotor prevents it from torquing around the torque from the engine. But it is a nice one to fly. This is the fly inside Bell 47. And if you've seen any of, going back in my library, any of the sightseeing video flights I did a little while ago, this is the helicopter that I was doing those sightseeing flights around some of the major cities in. But I like it. It's not too bad to handle here. Anyway, now that she's coming up to speed, turn our nav lights on. We'll switch over to our transmission temperature. Strobe lights are now on. Primer is off. And we are looking good. Let's go over and see Talia. Get myself set here. Just want to adjust my view. Alright, track IR is on. Bring up on the collective. Somebody gets settled in here. There we go. And it is a balancing act flying helicopters. Try to do a little bit of a hover taxi here. Always much easier in these things once they're up and flying. And you got some airspeed going. There's Talia. Alright, so we're going to head basically southwards. We're going to head down towards the coast, and then we'll fly along the coast down through Portsmouth and Southampton. Alright, so we're going to turn southwards. Build up some speed, and we're going to go up to about 500 feet. So about 1,000 indicated. There's that solar farm we saw when we came in. So there are going to be a few little hills down around here, which we'll have to bear in mind, but 1,000 feet should do us good. And we'll set to cruise between 70 and 80 miles an hour. It's the little community of Panton. Turning eastwards again. This is very much a case of wandering around back and forth as we go. Chopper from the air. back a little bit on the pitch, on the collective slower speed down to hold altitude. And as I mentioned before, it's a whole balancing act between all 6 inputs to try to maintain speed and altitude. I usually find about 22 inches on the manifold, and just easing up and down on the pitch keeps us kind of within that 60-70 mile an hour. We tend to maintain our altitude. But we're over some lovely farm country here. Little community of West Winterslow coming up, we're going to fly over top of. They got a nice little community here out in farm country. Keep her around that 1,000-foot mark. Don't want to go too high or we lose the benefits of flying nice snow. The sun's getting a little bit higher in the sky now. Tomorrow we'll be back flying over England again. This time we're in the DC-3s doing our tour of England. Another multiplayer flight. So if anyone wants to join in, again, you're more than welcome. If you can find an aircraft. If you don't have the DC-3, we're using the Airplane Heaven one. If you don't have the DC-3, anything that can fly at about 150, 160 knots is good. And you're more than welcome to join in. Same time, 1930 Zulu. Rolling hills of southern England farm country here. Trying to keep on course. There's no autopilot in this thing. In fact, there's no hydraulics in this. It's all direct linkage. I've been up in a real one, and it is a handful. You can see, again, a bit of how much right rudder pedal I'm having to put in. this power setting. And no assists on the controls. It's all directly up, and you can feel every little bit of it. It was a challenge to fly, though, I will say that. It's one of those nice challenges when you come down, you feel like you've actually accomplished something. Overlay says 50 miles to go, but we are going a little bit further since we're not going direct. Turn to about a heading of 150. I can see the waterways there for Southampton. We're going to head that way. Southampton is a huge shipping port, not only for cargo but passengers. A lot of cruise ships go in there. I've been in there in a cruise ship. And I think the Titanic came over here after leaving Belfast and stopped in here before it headed across the Atlantic. So a very long history. Further down the way as we go down will be Portsmouth, a very famous military port, home of the HMS Warrior, the first ironclad ship the Royal Navy had in the 1860s or 1850s, and also home of the HMS Victory, Nelson's flagship at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805. That's an amazing ship if you get a chance to see it. Loved climbing all over that thing. Now drop down a little bit down to 1,000 feet again. Start about a 400-foot descent here as we come in over the outer edges of Southampton, and now we're going to be following the coast. Changing my map view. Starting to come up to the little towns on the outside of Southampton. The rotor disc in the sun as I push forward to get us down to 1,000 feet again. Don't want to go too fast. This thing has 100 mile an hour top speed. fantastic looking down at these little English villages. While flying this is I'm fighting against the controls. Of course, all the spring loading and everything is I'm pushing against because there is no trim in these helicopters, so I can't trim it. Oop, a little stutter there. Can't trim it out to make it nicer to fly. I wonder if that's the airport loading in. I do have some shipping mods installed, so we should be able to see some nice ships down here. Global AI and I think Southern England bolt pack as well from Orbex. Another solar farm. You can ease off on the rudder pedals and neutralize them, and the aircraft will just fly sideways slightly. Not efficient. I love VFR adding in all the power lines. It's one of the things that makes flying nice and low like this so nice. Power lines, towers, chimneys, all that kind of stuff is added in. So we're going to come down to 500 feet now. That should give us a nice altitude as we fly over. There's the highway. The airport's just over there. Southampton Airport. See the construction cranes down here. Marshy River's coming in, forming into the channel here, which leads down to the port and then down out to the English Channel, which of course has the North Sea on one end and the Atlantic Ocean on the other. Too closely at that bridge and what's happening there. Huge dockyard. Containers, rail lines, all that good stuff. So we got a Harrier up there and the Ninja Weasel. Very industrial area here. And up ahead we got the cruise terminal. Let's come a little bit more out over the channel here. There's the cruise ships tied up in the port. Like a LNG ship there. I think that's roughly where we were docked in. Maybe it was down here. Can't remember exactly. It's a few years ago. Football stadium out that way as well. We'll cut right over the cruise ship here. Some of the freighters. The Maersk container ship here. Looks like we got a couple tugboats working themselves around down there. That's pretty cool. So the container, the global shipping is actually live. It does move around the world, and it's on a set timetable, which is pretty cool. So you're always going to have ships moving and stuff out there. Anyway, we're going to follow on down the coast here. Somebody's got a sailboat out. They're taking in the view of the castle here. Very nice. Off in the distance there, you can see the Isle of Wight. We're just going to keep going along the coast here, and we'll run into Portsmouth. Looks like some marinas up here. Lots of sailboats, a couple out on the water. Very nice. Back out in the country Very typical English layout of towns and stuff as we fly along here. There's another harbor coming up. Kind of see it off in the distance there. I'm going to angle towards it. That's where Portsmouth is. So this is the English Channel down here, except we got the big island there blocking, kind of protecting the entrance into Southampton, which was kind of why the Royal Navy built their base there. It was kind of choke point protected. Sure what that's supposed to be. This is a lot of fun flying this thing. Italia is behind us. Cruising along. Portsmouth is coming up. Seems to be very low ground here, marshy, a lot of rivers, a lot of low floodplain type of stuff here. Little airfield over there, that's Leon Solon Airfield, EGHF. Cemetery over there. Another solar farm. Feet. Head out towards the Portsmouth itself. It's over this way. It's on the other side of the water here. Again, if you can get out to visit, it's a very historical place. Not only for the ships, but the buildings and the dockyards and all that type of stuff. See how they did things 200 years ago in the sailing world. So here's Portsmouth. I don't know what ships are going to have modeled here. We'll see what we can find. The dockyards are coming up, and then there's this huge internal bay area here after the entry channel. Still a Royal Naval facility, so looks like we got a warship here. Oh, yeah, I see it. So you can see the Royal Naval docks here. Looks like we got a carrier, a couple frigates or destroyers or cruisers. See the ramp there for the Harriers. As we fly overhead, there's a couple of the other warships. Ooh, that one's got its radar on. There's an older style straight deck carrier. A modern frigate with the angular sides. Are they cruisers or frigates? I don't know. Couple of other ships there. No, that one's got the ramp on it as well. I think it looks like an older design. Here's the carrier. That we may be trying to make a submarine over there. But coming up now, we look down, there is the Victory. Nelson's flagship, 101 gun, 3 deck ship with the museum beside it. Fantastic. And just out here would be the HMS Warrior, the first metal-hulled one. I don't see it. That's a modern architectural, the spire, the spinnaker building. Spinnaker is what they call that sail. The rest of Portsmouth. Yeah, the Spinnaker building. Anyway, we're going to head down here and we're just going to now follow the coastline. As we head down towards Shoreham. This is the town of Portsmouth. Very much your typical 19th century English road planning. Some more shipping out in the channel. Another little harbor area. Little town of Amesbury is up on the top end of that bay. Purebach, another town. Very much a naval seafaring area, part of southern England. So as mentioned, the winds are going to be a couple knots out of the west, so we'll circle over and we'll come into the airport from the east, so we're flying into the headland. So we got a golf course here, links course on the coast. See that boat turning out in the water. Looks like a warship doing donuts. Watching the map. See the angle of the rotor disc there to keep us moving forward. Constantly working it. Can't remember if I'd set views up. I think I did at one point, but I've lost them. So we're just going to cut straight across here. Another hesitation. So we're going to be flying near a town called Chichester, which is on the south coast. Really interesting town. It was occupied by the Romans, and I visited there once. Had lunch in, I guess it was an old Roman burial tomb underground that they'd carved out. So it was about 2,000 years old, and 1900 years old, I guess. Really interesting to see the carvings and stuff that were in the walls that people had carved in. Kind of amazing seeing history right there in front of you while you're doing your daily stuff. We were just in for lunch. It was a restaurant occupying the space now, and that feeling of history. So the big town we're coming up to is Bognor Regis. Another one down on the south coast, Channel coast of England. Selzy down there on the tip. Yeah, it looks like farm country again down here. Back up to 1,000 feet. Enjoying the view. Of course, these helicopters weren't made for long distance flying. They were a utility helicopter. First major use they saw, military use, was in the Korean War, 1950 to 1953. And they were used as medical or spotting helicopters in medical evacuation. If you've ever seen the TV show MASH, you would have seen them in use there. On the skids out here, you go outside. It's on the flat part of the skids there. They had mounting brackets, so you could put a stretcher on either side and lock it in place, so you could carry 2 patients out. Of course, you'd have a reduced fuel load for that, so they basically took them from the battlefield aid stations to the MASH units, which stood for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, which would be placed about 10 miles or so behind the front lines. Because they found within that first hour of being wounded, if you could get medical treatment, your rate of survival went up something like 90%. Even for the serious stuff. So, getting them out of the aid station, getting them stabilized by the field medics and the aid station, and then getting them back to doctors and surgical facilities had a huge impact on wound survivability during the war, which is why they did it. And of course, with the terrain in Korea, the hilly mountainous terrain, it was a lot easier to fly them out than it was to try to drive them out. It would just take too long. Not that everybody was flown, but a number of them were. And there's still a number of these helicopters, 50 or 60 of them flying in North America today. Yeah, not made for long distance. Kind of led the way into what we would see as, I guess, medical evacuation helicopters up through into Vietnam, and then civilian medical evacuation helicopters we have today. Alright, so here's Bognor Regis coming up. We'll go down to 500 feet again. Get a nice look at it. See, we're starting to shake there as the airspeed picks up. Altitude is just being controlled by how much I'm pushing forward on the cyclic. I want to decrease my speed, I just ease back a little bit, slows the rate of descent, and that extra little bit of lift goes to lifting us upwards, which in turn starts decreasing our descent rate or airspeed. All a balancing act, as I mentioned. Great way to fly low and slow, I gotta say, although it is a handful on the controls. We're about 16 miles out from the airport now. Oh, passing over a school. Football pitches. Here's the train station. Terminus station down here on the coast. Heard an interesting comment about the trains in England, that you really can't go east to west, you have to go north to south. So if you want to go from the west coast to the east coast, you got to head to one of the major points like London and then get the train out of there. There's just no trains that kind of run directly across the country, which from my limited experience is pretty accurate. I know sometimes when you look at going places, you can go no direct or one change, and other times it's like 4 changes on a shorter route, but that's because you got to bounce to get across the countryside. So we're coming up along the coast. Our destination is up ahead. We were in Shoreham the other day. We flew the DC-3s in there on our tour of England, so we know it's right on the coastline. Following the shore here. You can see where the hills start over there and get into the rolling landscape away from the coast. No great cliffs here. The famous white cliffs are further along. Down here the coast is pretty much at sea level. Channel will close in, and then that's where you get the white cliffs where that old land bridge, helicopter landing site down there, where that old land bridge was cut through the chalky terrain there. The channel is looking very smooth today. Coming up towards the town of Worthing, not this one, but the one after. Another golf course below. lot of personal, well, pleasure craft boats, sailboats and little motorboats down in this area. Look at the fuel tank. We're about a third of a tank. Started with about 70%, so we're not doing too bad. We've left the mixture full rich for the flight, which is fine. Eight miles to go. So we're going to land at the big apron. See those lines down there on the beach? Those are to prevent erosion of the sand off the beach. Kind of breaks up the waves if they come in at a bit of an angle. So here's the divide between the towns. This is the town of Worthing. Coming up to here, I'm pretty much the other side of this river. Coastal Railway runs up here. And then up ahead we've got Shoreham and the Shoreham airfield. 5 miles out now. Fairly big area. I think it's a couple towns that have grown together though. A few boats out in the water. Sports complex over there, probably a high school. See those hills coming down. Miles or so out, and see the airfield coming up. We'll fly under the south end of the airfield and then circle around for our landing. Our about 900 feet. Some pleasure boats, fishing boats. We're going to swing down. We'll come in towards runway 24, and then we'll veer off and come down to the main apron. 24 is a grass field. Come in over the industrial complex here. I think we got that PA-28 down there. All right, looking good. We'll fly to the other side of the river. Circle back. About 1,200 feet. Looks like he's sitting down there on the runway. Yeah, I see him down there. And you can see runway 24 running parallel to our track right now. So we're going to swing out over this little bit of the town here, come back over the river, and then we're going to go down and land on that main concrete landing pad there. Alright, so we're going to start reducing our collective. That'll help us start coming down. We'll also start slowing down. Reducing our speed. We'll get the landing lights on. Talia. Speed's coming back. We're down to 60 knots. 800 feet. It's 55 knots. 600 feet. Knots, keeping the about a 500-foot descent rate going. We'll go park up beside Talia. Down to 30. Keep our forward speed going though. We don't want to get too slow yet. Alright, so we're coming into the wind. This is where it just becomes a visual game now. Easing back. No, I know there's no trim. There's no trim in this thing either, so it's all by hand. Gentle motions. Tend to drift sideways in this thing. Oh, there we go. Well, we're down anyway. Well, welcome to Shoreham. Thanks for flying along, Talia. We can get this thing shut down now. I'll turn off track IR. So bring the collective fully down. Turn off our landing lights and our strobe lights. Nav lights can come off. Instruments we can kill. Go away. And there we go. She is shut down. Alright, well, thank you all very much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed. We've been flying the Bell 47 on our little tour of southern England. We'll be back next week on the next leg. Talia, thanks for coming along for the flight. And again, if you want to join us on any of these flights, they are open. You can come to our Discord. I'll throw the link into the chat, but it's also in the descriptions of the video. See you on the next one. We're back tomorrow flying the DC-3s on our tour of England. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.